Final tracks off of sorry, I'm sitting down. Final tracks off of an album from The Weeknd has to end pretty good, or else you just wasted everyone's time. Can't wait to explain that part of the video. Anyway, yeah, today I just thought of this while actually writing a script for the Weeknd song ranking video. Yeah, I'm pretty much doing it with the Michael Jackson song ranking video. They're both going to be released simultaneously, and I don't know. I rank them at the same time. Maybe I might do an Eminem one. I would probably do a Drake one, and if I really want to, I'll do a Drake one. And but after that, I don't know who else songs to rank. So please give me some suggestions in the comments. But yeah. So this topic is about every single album that The Weeknd has released, and I'm talking about the final track. However, I'm not talking about the EP, My Dear Melancholy, because I want to make a video for that one on itself, and I don't want to talk about it in this video because I feel like if I did, then I'll have to explain the whole album to you. Okay, let's go. Let's start with the first last track of any album, The Knowing, from House of Balloons. Okay, let's start with it. The Knowing kind of ends everything off by The Weeknd revealing that he knows his girlfriend cheated off him, and that he's okay with it because he feels nothing for her. Yeah, the song is just good. I like it, but is it perfect? No, I think it's too slow and it's too long for its own good. I mean, the chorus is good. I just don't think it's the best from the album. Wiki Games, House of Balloons, high for this. Even the bonus track on the trilogy tapes, 28, are better choruses and better songs for that matter. It doesn't beat the after party are coming down. So The Knowing is definitely not the worst song. Because oh no, that goes to What You Need. But in terms of the whole album, I think The Knowing is probably a weak outro for this otherwise really good album from The Weeknd. Or mixtape, I should be correct. The mixtape from The Weeknd. Next up we got Heaven or Las Vegas from the Thursday. Yeah, this one kind of stinks. Sorry. I wouldn't say it's outright terrible. I would even say it's just boring and kind of doesn't really need to exist. I mean, the message is clear, but the song is just not that clear. It's not catchy, it's not very playable. Like, legit, whenever the song pulls on, I try to get into it, but I never do. Even Valerie, which is just whatever, doesn't really add anything to the album. In fact, it feels kind of there. It's not a bad track. I think it's a better finale than Heaven or Las Vegas, which is just whatever. But Valerie is definitely a better outro, but it doesn't really add anything to the album. Or the mixtape. Man, I can't believe Thursday starts off so strong and then ends off just not really good. I can't believe that happens. How do you allow this to happen, The Weeknd? You had a pretty decent one with the last one, and now you made probably one of your worst songs on it. Oh god, I have so much to say about Heaven or Las Vegas in the future. But for right now, can we just move on to the other ones? Alright, I forgot how Echoes of Silence ends. Echoes of Silence, the track. Okay, that makes sense. It kind of is boring. I mean, it's not terrible, it's just boring. It sounds like the title track of Thursday, but slower and less interesting. Echoes of Silence is just boring, and that's it about it. Until Dawn, Here Comes the Sun is just not good at all. I mean, the chorus is catchy, I guess, but that's it. That's literally all the praise I'll give Till Dawn. And that's how the trilogy tapes ends, with Till Dawn, Here Comes the Sun. Yeah, this is pretty weak. I think it ends off the album not that great. And for some reason, these three solo, like, actual outro tracks, and then you got the 3 bonus tracks, there's only, like, one of them that I think it's incredible and would consider to be in the top 20 songs from the Weeknd. And that's 28. Spoilers for the Weeknd ranking video. All the rest of them are kind of weak. You would think that after that he would create one of his best ones. Let's move on to Kissland. As I said before, Kissland is not a misunderstood masterpiece, but I don't think it's bad. Does it end pretty good? Actually, yeah. Tears on the Rain is actually a pretty good song. I mean, it is long for its own good, but out of the whole album, I think this one is probably the one I play the most, aside from Belong to the World and Adoption. Everything else I just kind of listen to once, and like every so often I listen to them. Except for Love in the Sky, that song sucks ass. Sorry, I need to breathe. I'm really tired right now. And now let's get into the main point of the video. Is it a pretty good outro? Oh yeah. Kind of like how The Knowing ends off the album on like this note where the Weeknd knows his girlfriend cheated on him, but he's okay with it. This one ends off being like, this girl would never know she hurts me, so I'm gonna cry in the rain. I mean, that's a pretty generic topic to talk about because, you know, the Temptations did it in the 70s, close to the 70s, I guess, with I Wish It Would Rain, which is a better song than Tears in the Rain because it's shorter and more melodical and actually a pretty good song. Go listen to I Wish It Would Rain by the Temptations. I fucking dare you to say anything wrong with it. In fact, actually, if you so much as say a single line from the song, and and you make a joke about it, I will actually make a video talking about those jokes and how they work or not work. Do it. I'm literally asking you guys for a video idea. Do it. But Tears in the Rain, pretty good track. Pretty good ending. One of the better songs off the album, personally. But, damn, Beauty Behind the Madness ends so perfectly. The entire album is talking about how the Weeknd's just with girls now that he's famous. And yeah, that it surprisingly works. I mean, he talks about it in the beginning where he's like, my mom tells me that this is what real life is going to be for me. And the album ends off with, I hope you find somebody to love. And it's just like, wait, what? Because from the Weeknd earlier, he would never have the girl fall in love with somebody else. And I love how he's just like, and I know I sin. And it's just, oh my god, you should listen to this song. This is a pretty good outro for the album. Damn. I don't know if it's my favorite anymore. I don't know anymore, I'm sorry. I just... Angels is so good, go listen to it. Is it the best ending? Nope, it's not. It's just spoilers for later on down the line. But, yep, Angels is fantastic. Telling a girl to, you know what, I'm a toxic person. Go find somebody to love. Somebody you love and somebody who loves you. And is good for you. Because you're an angel. God, I love Beauty Behind the Madness and how it ends. Oh my fucking god, I'm so glad I listened to this album in its entirety. And now, we're down to Starboy. Starboy begins with him just being like, I'm a motherfucking Starboy. Which is not saying a lot, but that's a fucking good song there. And throughout the album, it's kind of like jumbled up. I don't know if he's talking to a single girl or talking to a lot of girls in the album. But I Feel It Coming is just such a beautiful song where he's telling this girl she doesn't need to fear it anymore. That he will actually love her. And that he feels it coming. He feels it coming. He feels it coming. I don't know what this means. Do you feel the love coming, or do you feel like the relationship is coming? And I do like the bridge, and the chorus is pretty good. And damn, Daft Punk is on this album. I forgot about that. Daft Punk. Man, they're so good on this album. They produced this track excellently. But there's nothing for the closing track off of After Hours. After Hours ends originally with Until I Bleed Out, a track where he talks about his death, and that the girl is causing his death to be more painful, so he has to get her out of him. He's actually afraid, he's vulnerable. For the first time on any album, he actually sounds like he's afraid to die. He's not scared to live, he's scared to die. The track is just so haunting. It ends the album off hauntingly. It doesn't end on a perfect note. In fact, it ends on the most horrific manner of any Weeknd album. Because unlike the other albums so far, he's actually, not talking about a girl on this one specifically. I mean, he does mention it a little bit, but it's more like he's just terrified of dying from a drug overdose. And if he actually died from an overdose, you can decide with your interpretation. Personally, yeah, I think he does die at the end of After Hours. And then we get the bonus tracks. I didn't know if I talked about them in the original After Hours video, but dang, these 3 songs are pretty good, with my favorite being Final Lullaby. And it's just like such a perfect way to end the album off, with him telling this girl to finally sleep, to rest, to go to sleep. Or, in my interpretation, he's telling himself to finally sleep. After so long, he is finally dying. And that he needs to calm down, because there's no other way. He dies from his overdose and goes into Dawn FM. Dawn FM, I'm going to count Less Than Zero and Final Regret by Jim as the final tracks off this album respectfully. But I'm not including Take My Breath, the short version, because, well, first of all, it's in the deluxe edition technically. And I just do not think it works as a closing track at all. It does work as like a repeating session, but yeah, whatever. So Less Than Zero is him proclaiming he is less than what he's always thought he was, a 0. And then he's telling every girl that he is not just some scum. The entire time we're listening to The Weeknd, he's talking about how he's a lower life form and that he needs to please women and women need to please him. And he's finally saying, I had enough of this. I am no longer going to be that asshole that I was. I am lower than that, I think, or more than that. And it sounds so celebrating, but it also sounds so tragic. It has not that same vibe throughout the album, and I think that's a pretty good example of what The Weeknd can do. And then we get into Phantom Regret by Jim, where Jim Carrey has informed us that we're dead, and that we're waiting to go to heaven or hell, but we need to let go of all our past mistakes. But here's the thing, The Weeknd will never know how to let go. He will continue in this mass kind of feeling that he's been feeling for a long time. I should really write these down next time. But out of all the tracks on this album, this one is the most haunting one. It kind of reminds me of Until I Bleed Out, but more tragic. Jim Carrey's a perfect way to end the album off. And with that, the final track of the final Weeknd album. Wait a minute, what about Afterlife? It's not released yet, so hopefully he releases it at least next year. I'm not really hoping for him to release it soon, but I'm hoping he could release it and have plans for it, because I can't wait for it. Maybe I'll go back to album reviews, I don't know, fuck off. Anyway, that being said, closing tracks, pretty good. Clap, applaud, Goodbye.